By the way, this is very just spontaneous that I'm doing this. I just thought it would be fun to share and kind of. I'm not trying to create a series of tutorials or anything, but I thought this would be fun thing to do as I'm wrapping up this week of intense work of things I've never done before. So the next thing I want to show you, and you'll hear my mouse moving around. Yeah, for someone that does audio, this is not the best quality. But I'm going to show you a little bit of what I did. I'm calling this the clip launcher, ReaLearn, and I'm calling this the effects and mapping bypasser. So this is all coming from, and you can rename, by the way, you can rename any of this. Like if in, those of you know about Reaper, almost everything is customizable. So I know this is already going to be ReaLearn, and the default this would say ReaLearn, but I basically created these 5 maps for these 5 pieces. And I have taken them. I'll show you real quick how this is mapped out. So I go here. I'm looking at scroll, and you can see this one's active. These are bypassed. Talk about how I use this instance of ReaLearn to do the bypassing. So what I wanted to do here, and when you look at this, and this is one thing that I think it's a valid criticism of Reaper, but I also think it's a bit misguided. You look at this and it looks, holy, what is going on here, right? It's very, it's more text oriented. It's very flat. The UI is more back end stuff. But I think once you get to the guts of it, you see like how amazing this can be, and I think I'm barely scratching the surface. So what I wanted to do is, obviously you need an input, right? And I've already created, again, I have all these different presets that I've made from each of these instances of this clip launcher for ReaLearn, right? So all you do is you're going to select your input. So I'm putting everything, just so you know what I'm doing here with, I'm using just this little Mini Lab 3. And I'm taking everything that was on my iPad for Touch OSC, and I'm taking everything that was on my Novation Launchpad, and I'm putting in this little thing. So I'm saving tons of real estate physically. Now the question is, do I have enough real estate in the keys, the pads, the faders, and the knobs? I think I do. And I think a lot of this has to do with the flexibility of ReaLearn and how you can map certain things. So basically you choose your input, MIDI input and output. As you see, there's other options. I do use a computer keyboard as well. These are like the hotkeys. One thing that Ableton does very well, right, is you can just go to that mode, MIDI or keyboard learn, and just map everything that you can see. This is doing it, but it gives you a little more detail as to how you do it. Not as easy, but you can work it out. By the way, I believe that ReaLearn comes through, if you don't have a default, it doesn't come, you have to get it through Repack. And you have, those of you that know Reaper, if you know, not everything is straightforward because it's more open source network. But once you get these things going using Repack as your package manager, it's good to go. So it's easy to look up. Go to the Reaper forum, clear as day how to do this. That's how I learned it. So now what I have to do is I just do these mappings here, and I add one. So the first mapping I added was here. It took a note velocity, channel 1, note number 36, which happens to be, I think, a C. If I go to, let me open up this. I created kind of a map manager. You'll see it. I did it in my notes app here. Basically, this is C2, and then here is C sharp 2, D2, D sharp / E flat 2, E, etc., etc. Okay, so yeah, in fact, here it is right here. I'll show you. I'm keeping track. Here is the scroll key mapping. Here's all of the, so I have them according to group, and you can see I didn't quite do them in order because I ran into some problems, but now I got them fixed. But here's the name of the samples. It's all key map. So basically, I key map all of these clips all the way to like a C sharp 3. Okay. Now, as you know, with something like the Mini Lab, what you don't have in real estate with it, right? You have to figure out some ways, some workarounds as you're going to do several clips throughout a whole live set. But you can kind of see everything I got here is all key mapped out. Okay, and there is this project invoke transport action. Yeah, that's play, right? I can just hit the play button. Okay. Now, for example, to show you a little bit how this works. So since I have this mapped out, right? If I go, you'll hear some stuff soon. Just want to show you. So, for example, if I have this right here, scroll map is going. Here's playtime scroll. I go back to the beginning. Now I'm experiencing some latency issues. I'm still trying to figure out. And then I'm just going to hit. I'm just going to solo this so nothing else is happening. I'm just going to hit C2 in my Mini Lab 3. Right, you hear a little bit of latency there. Right, and you can also probably hear my click track in my right, that's going in my right ear. Right, so there it is. I just start. I can end it. Okay, and then here is
Communist Party USA.
Here is D2, the drum. It's weird stuttering there I gotta fix, but there's the tracks. Okay. And now so anyway, it'll play those with the key mapping. Okay. So I did similar. So if I solo this and I mute, I bypass this and go to here, and I have a way that I do that. Now I have this map. So now when I go to this part of the piece that's at 52, and of course I used a keyboard shortcut to move from one region to another. So I have all my cues here color coded. So I go to this piece. I'm going to hit, since this map, and I'll show you a little bit of how I did all this. This map is clear, is now being used. It's not going to play any of the clips from this this playtime instance, but this one. So you see, Grace is the name of the piece. Grace right here. So now when I hit C2, you can start to hear those strings come in, and then you can hear this piano part come in, right? And then of course, I just hit stop, and you notice one thing that happens when I open this up. They're still ready to play. I just hit the space bar. So I needed to create like kind of a kill switch for all of these. And all I did over here was I just learned a MIDI trigger. So C4, the very top of my keyboard, anytime I hit C4, boom, it clears it, it kills it. And that's for every single instance of playtime that I'll have. It's just right there. Okay. Next, I'll show you the how I used the effects and mapping bypasser.